Peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuhu. May tranquility of Allah, the Rahman, the Rahim, be within you and upon you. Born is to bring into existence. Everything has to go through a birth record. Even when you look at a baby, it takes 9 months for a baby to be born. Before that happens, there's a process. Even when a man sees a woman, he has an attraction, she has an attraction. And they do all the necessary procedures, right? He mac to her, or she do certain things to attract him. You know what I mean? She might put a little twist in her hips because he watching. Moving right along. Even when they get into the act, inside of his brain, that's where the spermatozoa is developed. That's where the spermatozoa is developed, inside of the brain. But even before that happens, you know, the light of Allah is inside of there. It's in that Quran, right? And that travels from the brain down the spinal cord, through the cerebrospinal fluid. And it takes a process, right? Before it goes on that barak and ascends through the 7 heavens. So then that seed also goes through a process of meeting the egg. And there's a spark of light. That light shining in the darkness. And from all of those sperm cells that's released, thousands. Some people say 79,999. Some people say 50,000. Give all kinds of figures. However, only one makes it. The one that's called Christos, or the Christ, the anointed one. That's the only one that makes it. Peace. So then you have the 9 months of conception, or 280 days, or 9 months and 10 days. In order for the baby to be born. But even once the baby is born, still, the child still is going through the birth record. When the child is 1, they do the knowledge. Nobody don't come to them and tell them, knowledge is to know, look, listen, learn. Nah, ain't nobody coming to the baby saying that. Not at all. The baby, because of nature, the baby looks and listens and observes. Because of nature, the living mathematics of nature. When the child is 2, the child does the wisdom. The child walks, the child talks. People, I think it could be ignorance, may not be. They call it terrible twos. But that's just because it's wisdom. The baby is expressing itself. When the child is 3, the child gets an understanding of what the child got at 1 and 2. When the child is 4, The child has its own way. You could see it. When he's 5, the child has his power. He's really considered a boy at this time if he's male. You see little individual traits stand out. When the child is 6, you got equality. You know, so all of these things that happens, a child is going through the birth record. Even at work, you go through a birth record. After you put in the application, you know, you gotta go through training. You gotta get trained to see how you do the things that you're gonna do. You go through the training, and then you're able to go there. And then for 90 days, it takes some time before you can get insurance, right? So you go through the birth record with everything. In martial arts, in trade school, anything, it don't matter. Everything goes through a birth record, regardless of what it is. So as it is within, it will be on the outside. And many people, they quote this axiom without acting on it. And it seems like that's the case with 85% of the people. It's like you quote something, you can say it, or you may have a cliche, but you ain't act on none of that. Or you may even know a hadith, and you can say that hadith bil-Arabi while in English, in Arabic and English. However, you ain't act on nothing in there. That ain't the way. You know what I'm saying? Be a doer of the word. Don't be a hearer of the word. So, every cause has an effect. It makes me think of l'effet papillon. In French, what they say, the butterfly effect. That was one of my movies too. My man, he realized that he can go, you know, look at a picture, tune into his vibration, and it'll bring him to the moment of that picture. Right? So he keep trying to change the past. He don't like his present, so he keep trying to change the past. And every time he change one thing, it affect everything else. So periodically, he just keep messing up the past. I mean, he keep messing up the present and the future. But l'effet papillon, the butterfly effect, when the butterfly releases a small amount of energy through the flapping of his wings, that energy keeps spiraling through the atoms in the air. And as it travels, it gets larger and larger and larger until it has affected the weather patterns. So the butterfly may flap his wings on one side of the earth, but once that energy travels to the next side of the earth, that energy now becomes hurricanes, typhoons, or monsoons, or cyclones, and all of these different things. So this is how it is. For the slightest bit of energy, it has an effect on things. Always has an effect on things. So, as it says in the 99th surah in the Quran, Zalzala, or the earthquake, وَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. If you do an atom's weight of good, you'll see it. If you do an atom's weight of evil, you'll see it. Say Assalamu alaikum to the people.
Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.